This is a video presentation for the 4th level Introduction to Research course at Algonquin College of Ottawa. It's hard to argue with the fact that the selection of a topic and time of conducting a research is one of the fundamental steps toward a successful initiative. A boring idea will be of no interest to your audience, let alone motivate you to achieve a great result. A broad and difficult research idea might see you run out of funds, time, or even your own interest in the long run. A vague or ill-defined research topic is more likely to produce even more questions than useful answers. An idea that has already been covered or a question that has already been answered is pointless, as much as a question that can be answered by a simple yes or no. So as you can see, the business of selecting a proper research problem is no picnic. It must be approached carefully. In the next few minutes, we will try and provide you with some ideas on how to solve this problem. The first important thing to consider is that you need to keep your eyes peeled and trust your intuition. Your curiosity should guide you toward a good research-worthy question. If a question piques your interest and you cannot find the answer, then it might be worth considering. Once you're set on an interesting and relevant research topic, you need to turn it into a question, a researchable question. But before you can do this, however, you need to read about the chosen topic to identify studies already conducted on it so you don't waste your time unnecessarily, or studies that otherwise might help you in conducting your own research. Reading will also help you in defining the theoretical approach, as well as identifying some factors that you may have not considered yet. The next step toward a great research is to produce a clear and unequivocal statement of the problem to be studied. This is the researchable question we mentioned before, and the idea here is to identify, define, and isolate the question, but not necessarily to answer it, or at least not yet. This brings us to the hypothesis, which is a statement that reflects the specific relation between two concepts, and it is only used in quantitative research, whereas the research objective is more appropriate for the qualitative type. But more on that later. The hypothesis usually takes the form demonstrated in a diagram, where concept X causes concept Y, or concept X is related to concept Y. The sign in the middle reflects the type of relation or effect, with a positive sign representing a direct relation and a negative one representing an inverse relation between the two concepts. For example, if we wanted to diagram the hypothesis that colder temperatures increase the rate of the absenteeism at Algonquin College, which is an inverse relation, we could diagram it as shown in the illustration. This type of diagram is very useful in visualizing and clarifying the research idea, particularly when identifying the independent and the dependent concepts to the left and right of the diagram respectively. But not all research is governed by a hypothesis, and, as mentioned earlier, a research objective is more appropriate for those researches with a descriptive goal instead of an explanatory one. In other words, a research objective is to be employed whenever describing what happened, whereas a hypothesis must be employed when explaining what happened. In synthesis, we must be conscious in selecting the research topics so it hasn't been researched yet, or is too broad, difficult, or vague. There are many starting points to a research, and once you find one, you must turn it into a researchable question. The hypothesis reflects the specific relation between the two concepts, and it must be easy to diagram and identify the independent and dependent concepts within it. And finally, the research objective is the equivalent of a hypothesis when the objective of the research is to describe instead of explain what happened.